Alright, stream should have started. Hello guys. It's been a while. I've been saddled with a bunch of school assignments and whatnot, but resuming Ace Attorney today. Wahoo! Last I remember, we solved a murder mystery, in which case we were the accused. Remember lots of stuff from it. I don't actually have any water bottles with me right now. This might be a mistake, considering that I'm the only one in the VC right now. But without further ado, let's resume. Oh, what's happening?
In a corner of that
oh, it's happening! It's voice acted!
Room, Sholmes and I waited with bated breath. In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action.
Ah, yes, of course,
furiously
Sholmes.
with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern's shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The speckled band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which she referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible speckled band I had ever seen.
January 6:37 a.m. on board the steamship Burya. So, let me know if audio's too bad or if it's,
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what
Oh.
events led to this curious murder.
Oh no, I recognize the person on the ground.
The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man
Oh
was
no,
killed.
I recognize the person that's on the ground.
To suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink
that in
from this
Russian?
upset bottle. A Russian word.
Oh, it is Russian.
So the
Oh,
victim was a Russian man then. And the letters
Okay.
were unformed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time.
Akeru.
This is a most extraordinary script.
Akeruna.
And evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality.
I recognize the person on the floor. Oh
This was
no.
placed just prior to the incident by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
Who
What?
are you, and what do you think you're doing here?
No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait. That won't be necessary. You see, in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What? Don't be absurd. This is murder. I need cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Who are you, and where have you come from? I'm a great British consultant detective.
Wait, is that the police guy?
I presume.
Hello, Herlock Sholmes. Who's hiding in there? Is it us again? Oh, my head is throbbing. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. Oh, there's stuff on the floor. Wait, I can't move. Uh-oh. Ah! What the? Why am I in handcuffs? So you wake up now, hmm? Oh, who's this dude? We had to drag you out of the wardrobe. I do not believe how you could wake up. Could not wake up. You are a true cold-blooded man. Not again! You... you found me then. Ah, we found you. And now you pay. Criminal! How long are you hiding in that tiny wardrobe, hmm? Oh, sorry. Now you have been found. It is time to admit your crimes. Unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is, hmm? No, I'll tell you everything. There's only one thing I'd like to know from you. Isn't that... Oh, it's... Hello, Susato. Why did you do it? Why did you take his life? Miss Susato! Wait, what did you just say? Take his life? Where is he? Where's Kazuma? Yeah. Ha! You pretend you don't know? You are a wolf in the sheep's pelt. You are the killer. Do not try to make excuses. What? Kazuma-sama's body was discovered not long ago. Man! Here, in this very cabin, that was bolted shut from the inside. His body? Please, do not try to tell us you were doing this terrible thing in your sleep. Kazuma's dead? But he can't be. In these handcuffs, surely you don't think I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Man, he was so cool! Answer me, please. No. Man, I can't believe Kazuma's dead. Although if I remember correctly, he dropped like a hella big flag. Kazuma, it was just 2 short weeks ago. Are you sure about this? Won't we get in trouble? Oh, Kazuma. Ha 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 ha! Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study? There's really something else when they brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case onto the floor. I thought I was going to die. Yes, I still can't quite believe that. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. You must be even less of a man than you look. Hey! Honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body! Well, it's about 50 days since we docked in Great Britain. But if you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you. Ugh, I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians won't be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure. What I want to know is, why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady? From our faithful judicial assistant Mikotoba, you mean? From your close friend, more to the point. Surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away. No, but if she knew what we've done, it would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. I suppose so. Anyway, it's about the time that the steward is supposed to come and clean the cabin. I know it's cramped, but you'd better get in there, I think. It won't be for long. And anyway, compared to hiding inside my traveling case, it'd be a breeze. Yes, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in for it. Stop worrying. I'll tell you what. Why don't you write "keep out" or something on this piece of paper? What? Then I can stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside. I don't know. We've only been at sea for about 15 days. How can this have happened? You were supposed to be going on this adventure to England together! Man! We leave you at next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Murderer? No, I'm not a murderer! Ugh, you said before, and you admit everything about your crimes. No, that's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away on the ship, but murdering my best friend? No one else could have done it. Admit the truth. Susato-san. Please, tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there is something I would like to ask of you, too. Those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare is getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try to find out what really happened. Kazuma's death. He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream? And these handcuffs. They think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer? When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via a porthole window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these four walls. What? Or to put it another way, the culprit can only have been somebody inside this cabin. Or do you have some other explanation? This is impossible. How did he die then? What happened exactly? Are you still going to deny the charge? Even despite the circumstances? Please, Susato-san! You have to tell me! The cause of death is still undetermined. They don't know how he died? The ship's doctor is examining the body, but of course, he has no post-mortem analysis experience. I don't suppose we shall learn more until an expert has consulted at our next port of call. So presumably that means there are no obvious signs of injury then. That's true, yes. Can't anyone tell me what actually happened here in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma? Presumably that's something you know the answer to better than anyone. Please. Whatever you say. You were here in the cabin after all. Well, yes, I was, but... He would always wake up before dawn and do his training first thing in the morning. I was waiting outside his cabin, as I have every day so far on this voyage. But this morning, he did not come. I could sense that he wouldn't. Does that mean he was already dead when Susato-san arrived at his cabin door, I wonder? I knocked, but there was no reply. Then I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced the cabin door open, and when we managed to get inside... Man. There was Kazuma-sama, collapsed on the floor. And the white tape there now shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea anything had happened. I must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just very hard to believe. This is all very hard for me to believe, too, trust me. Now I've told you everything that I know. So it's my turn to ask you a question. Yes, alright. My head feels so heavy. It's still throbbing like anything. Oh, stowaway. Why are you even on board the ship, Naruhodo-san? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yes. I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now, and I've been shut up in this cabin the entire time. I had no idea. But how could you have occupied Kazuma-sama's cabin for so long without him noticing? No, no, no! That would have been impossible, obviously! Yes, of course. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. He actually asked you? But why? I'm afraid I don't really know the reason myself. I don't understand. Kazuma, why do you want this? What's the real reason? Why go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me into England with you? What? We're never gonna get to hear this theme again! I think I told you then, didn't I? That you ought to become a lawyer yourself. Well, yes, you did say that, but I didn't think you were serious. You have a talent for it, I can assure you of that. But I've never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at the spearhead of cultural development, the center of the world in many ways. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can't there? Well, no, definitely not. But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then... Then what? Nothing. Forget it. We're never gonna get to hear this theme again, no! Kazuma-sama he was always saying the same thing. That he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought that he could do that with you. Yes, maybe. But something's still bothering me a little. The look in his eyes then. It was darker than I've ever seen before. Susato-san. I'm sorry that we kept it a secret from you. My storing away on the ship, I mean. If I know Kazuma-sama, I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association. That's exactly right, yes. We're perfect, in fact. Last night. If you're not the culprit, then tell me, what happened last night here in this cabin? Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat, just like he always did. And then I got myself into that wardrobe over there, just like I always did. After that, I... fell asleep? Well, yeah. So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed? Well, yes. I know it sounds unbelievable, really, I do. But it's the truth! If only if I'd woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. And for some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything. Really? Is something wrong? Oh, no, it's... Please, forget it. Susato-san, you have to believe me! I didn't do it! I really don't want to doubt you. But the trouble is, there is no one else who could have possibly done this. Kazuma, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? I can't take this. Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen. I'm not, though! I'm sorry. But Kazuma was killed right under my nose here, and I didn't do anything to stop it. And now I'm supposed to just sit around? My hands tied while whoever did this walks free? No, I can't allow that to happen. Well, what do you propose we to do then? I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Kazuma's life, and how and why they did it. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me. Oh! Oh wow! What the? That was a Susato takedown. Susato what? What martial art form is that? I'm going to need you to prove it. Sorry? Prove it? Yes, your innocence. I need evidence. But how am I supposed to... Have you forgotten already? What you achieved just a few weeks ago? You successfully defended yourself in a court of law. Ah, I see. She's expecting me to present some conclusive evidence. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. I'll show her some evidence right now that proves I'm not guilty of this awful crime. The seal? This is the paper seal I wrote for the wardrobe. I remember working really hard to make it. But I'll never forget how Kazuma reacted. Do you expect the Russian crew to be able to read that? He said. Still, I was sure people would get the idea, even if they couldn't read it. So we used it anyway. And it worked. I don't know if the crew thought it was creepy or what, but no one opened the doors. Akeru na. Don't open it. How do I present? Yes! Okay, it's this. Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors? Oh, yes, it was. I remember clearly. I thought so. Kazuma always put it in place whenever I went to sleep in there, just in case the cabin steward or other crew member decided to look inside. So naturally, he did the same last night as well. Ah! Yes, of course! The gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them. If I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this outside the doors on my own. Yes, that's quite true. In other words, it's impossible that I killed Kazuma. Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma-sama thought so highly of you. Thank you, Susato-san. Now, do you think perhaps you could help me up? Well, in the light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating in here at least. Thank you. So you finally believe me? I'm sorry. No. What? I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you use some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position. What does she think I am, a magician? So, for now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same. Alright, let's get to work, Susato-san. Please, don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts. Oh. I shall be watching you to make sure you do nothing that might to make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. I wouldn't want you using your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example. Right. Well, anyway, I should make a start on investigating in here. Examine everything I can. Kazuma, I swear, I will avenge your death! You got over... The both of you got over his death pretty quickly. Oh, there's a guy here! B? Oh! Wait, why is it there? Here. This is where Kazuma-sama would have sat whenever he was writing. Oh, London Diary. Poor Kazuma. He didn't even make it to his destination. It looks as though this is the last entry is incomplete. Which means... what? He was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened? Let's see what it says. It could be a valuable clue. Hiya! Oh. Thanks, Susato. That's out of the question. Well, Kazuma-sama may have departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts. But what if it's something important? Something relevant to the case? Alright. I won't read it. Poor Kazuma-sama. I don't like prying into people's personal matters either. But in this case, isn't the need for clues more important? Oh dear, that won't do. Oh, what's the matter, Susato-san? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused I forget to look around properly. Yes, that's not good. I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you, Naruhodo-san? I'm sure you're careful to look all around using BM, aren't you? Now, let's investigate all corners of the cabin. Yes, let's do that! I suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. Thank you, game, for telling me that. When I already used it! So, hopefully audio is okay. Can't really do a check, and I did change up... I did change around the audio because the Switch was a bit too loud. I'm gonna do a check real quick. I know it's in the middle of the stream. Alright, it does sound fine. I don't believe I have anything to worry about here. That's a very large traveling case, isn't it? Yes, it carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. I was brought on board inside that case. Ah yes, I see it says "this way up" in Japanese. Which, in hindsight, I should have realized the foreign crewmen wouldn't be able to read. I was turned over and over and over, and then I was tossed on the floor in here. Oh dear, being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Well, it was less painful than a Susato takedown. Okay, I checked that. I checked there. I did not check here. The books have fallen over on the shelf. Look! They've all been toppled the same way. And what's this? A statue of some god of the sea? Although he's fallen over as well. Yeah, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked, and everything mowed down at once. I wonder if... perhaps it was a Kazuma-sama doing his mowing sword training, do you think? I don't think that's the case. I think there was a sign of a struggle in here. I seriously doubt it. Then perhaps... it was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage. I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. Could the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? It's called, there was a struggle. Well, I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess. No, you shouldn't! Man. Aha. These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Miura. It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Kazuma! What? Why are you staring at me? Oh, sorry. I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? I can't decide. Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. His sword's right here. That's Kazuma's Sama's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. Yes, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on his trip. I suppose that just shows how important it was to him. And now he's gone. But I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. I've investigated thoroughly, but I can't find anything out of place. Okay, well, not there, I guess. What's that? A bell? What do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing was, it appears to have broken clean in two. Glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Nitsuke fastener from a kimono outfit. I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him, would he? And the mark besides it. What is it, I wonder? It has a sort of brick-like hue. Yeah, you're right. It is the color of brick, isn't it? Even though I don't see anything of the same color anywhere else in the cabin. Where's body was. Did Kazuma write that before he died? It looks like it's written in ink. He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. Then I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. I can't read that. Poor Kazuma-sama. No doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine it. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of a clue in his final moments, was he? Sorry, partner. But I can't read your writing! I don't think that's Japanese, Naruhodo-san. What? Then what language is it? It pains me to admit it, but I don't know. It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? That sure is Russian. Oh, over here. Food? That's my dinner from last night. A roast chicken. It was real tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But, did you eat it on the floor here? I'm not a dog, Susato-san! At the table, of course. Which begs the question of, when and how did the plate end up on the floor? But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right. So he didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me. Oh no! Does that mean... Oh, Kazuma-sama spent his last night on this earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. Oh, I can examine the table. There's nothing on this table at all. The plate and the cutlery are all over the floor for some reason. Yes, it's strange. Last night when I went to sleep, I'm sure everything was still... No, wait a minute. What is it? That's funny. I can't seem to remember anything about what happened after dinner at all. So then perhaps you are responsible for what happened to Kazuma-sama. No, no, no! What about this banner? I can't read it. Seigi. Oh! The Japanese word for justice. The brushstrokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. Yes, his calligraphy was always a reflection of his heart. Yet can you really look at these characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoughtfully? Of course I can! I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though you stowed away on the ship? Now you're going to bring that up, are you? I can't win. I'm gonna leave this man for last. It's for here. Besides... This is... Yes, it's a bell cord contraption, I think. What do you mean, contraption? I read about it in a book I was studying that talked about life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell cords like this, which you can pull to ring a bell, all to summon servants. Really? That sounds almost magical. Shall we give it a little try? Yes! In the interest of cultural research, obviously. I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people. No, I'm sure it's just that everyone's busy, that's all. They were so excited. It's some 2 weeks since we set sail from Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe for the entire time, Naruhodo-san? I think living isn't the right description. Oh, no, I suppose not. Although it must have been rather exciting, making this voyage in your own secret hideout. The trouble was, I never knew when a member of the crew might come in. So yes, I did basically have to live in the wardrobe. And last night was no exception. But because of that, you had no idea what was happening out here in the cabin. No, sadly not. What else? What else have I not? Oh, this vent? I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole through which fresh air can circulate into the cabin. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next door cabin. Yes, it would appear so. You're right. But if its purpose is to allow fresh air into the room, surely it should be connected to the outside. That's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough, or something like that? I suppose. Maybe that's it. Hello? Who's that? He wasn't there a minute ago! As far as I can tell, it looks like he might be European. Oh, how did he? You've noticed the man too, have you? I have no idea who he is or how he got in here, but he looks suspicious. And tall. Suspiciously tall. No, hold on. Don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is? Well, no. I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. He doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. Is he investigating Kazuma's desk? Or is he just playing on it? I can't tell. Well, in that case, we simply must talk with him. Am I just imagining it, or does Zathel-san look almost uncontrollably excited? By the way, I expect that you've noticed already, but just in case. If you press space on people when they're in crosshairs, you can converse with them. Yes, I know. Alright then, I'll get the suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself. Oh, please do! Hello, Sherlock. Or Herlock. Excuse me. Excuse me! Do you have a moment? Shh! This is a critical point in my investigation! Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. Oh, there he is. Greetings! I hope I haven't kept you long. Ah! What exactly were you doing on Kazuma's desk just now? Oh. Ah, I see. Fascinating. Sorry? What do you see? Feels like he's looking right through me. Oh yes, everything is clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry? What? And now, whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Oh, well, that's true at least. But how? How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It was really most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? But of course, a great many things. There is no mystery, my dear madame. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being, as you are, a merciless revolutionary. You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake, and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. And when the bed-ribboned occupant this very cabin discovered your identity, you end his life too. Yes, I believe that sums up the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you are talking about me, are you? Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name? I don't even see one person who fits the bill. So it's true. It was you who did this to Kazuma-sama. What? And you're plotting a revolution too! Susato, no! It's a shameful behavior, Noruhoto-san. Absolutely wicked. No, listen. There's no way I... Oh, well, there I go. Now explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous. Thank you, Herlock. How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes! I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously. Oh, forgive me. And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came to your head. Ah, but was I not right? Whilst adventuring towards foreign climes, you do find yourself in a most troubling predicament, do you not? Well, yes, maybe. Ha! There you have it, you see. What do you make of that, Well, to be honest... The ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So, I'm not really sure you could call it deduction. It's more plain observation. Indeed, an observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observations of trifles, you see. I announce my findings with the brassy certitude. And more often than not, I'm right. I don't think you introduced yourself. Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of all the century, known to men and women the world over. The inimitable Herlock Sholmes. So, it's really you? The actual Herlock Sholmes! The very same. The imitable, actual Herlock Sholmes. Do you know this man, Susato-san? The most famous detective in the world? Noruhodo-san! Of course I do! There's nobody who hasn't heard of him! What planet have I been living on, then? We must ask him what he's deduced. He will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? I'm gonna ignore you and examine the door. When I went for help and the crewman forced the door open. This bolt had been firmly closed. It's quite a small bolt, and not particularly sturdy, and it just slides across to secure the door shut. But still, with the door bolted, there would be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense up. I feel tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel. The culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across from the outside of the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself. But the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal, and they seal together perfectly. There would be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine! Okay, let's talk to this lad. Perhaps I should see what this Russian crewmate makes of this scene of the crime. Excuse me. What? I was wondering how it's going. The investigation, I mean. Grandmother told me that Japanese people do not make jokes, but it is not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal asking investigator for information about his crime? Very funny. Oh, it wasn't supposed to be a joke. He doesn't appear to be laughing either. He's convinced that you're guilty. He might have useful information though. I have to keep trying. So, last night, did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all? Yet, of course not! Now go back to corner of room and make silent. I say no more to you. Did I hit a nerve? Just for a minute there. You seemed a little flustered. Alright, let's talk to Herlock, I guess. So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Herlock Sholmes. Oh, I see. You're German? Herlock, was it? No, I have no hair. I mean, I have hair. Please, call me Sholmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Oh yes, Rats magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have seen it from England especially. Ah yes, here it is. The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes. So, you're the protagonist in a series of short stories then? Indeed I am. And you've read so many of your own stories that you started to think you really are a detective? Make no mistake, I'm not the poor deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backwards. Backward? My trusty biographer reports my greatest deducting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine. You have a biographer, do you? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson? I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. Why, at this very moment, I am returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal clown. Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. Deduction, you see, is to me a science, logical reasoning in its purest form. A science? Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in his subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture, fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin. All these things are data. Right. And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. How can you look me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I have a turn both for investigation and for deduction. And fame. That is what makes me the one and only Herlock Sholmes. Cosima's death. Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Oops. Have I managed to deduce anything? My dear fellow! Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right! It was none other than the great detective before you, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Ah, I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him. When I became anxious about Kazuma-sama this morning, I summoned all of the crew members to force the cabin doors open. And I concealed myself amongst their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective, Herlock Sholmes, was on board. And the handcuff seems to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. Ah! The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh really? Two facts, you say? Oh, two facts, your deduction just now. Mr. Sholmes, tell us please. What two facts were apparent to you when you came into this cabin this morning? Ah yes, but first, let us be precise. The two facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand. But what were they? Allow me to elucidate? The two facts that I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number 1, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number 2, the victim was Russian, and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. Hold on, Mr. Sholmes, what made you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. That is the Russian word for wardrobe. Do you really think Kazuma-sama could have left a dying message in Russian? In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. For this young man, Russian. Kazuma was Russian, was he? Initially, I considered Guardrobe, maybe the name of the killer. A certain Robert Guard, perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided to be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe in there at least. Where you find Mr. Haruto-san sleeping soundly. Quite so! I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I'm Russian too? I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian— No, it's not. Our school uniforms are the traditional dress of the Russian people? I had no idea. And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim and the message, that I might analyze it for possible hidden details. Oh, there he is. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. Yes, Kazuma had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I'd actually seen him like this. Are you alright, Mr. Noruhodo? Oh, yes, thank you. The photograph of the crime scene has been entered into the court record. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes? What, pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all of that? Ah yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think? I can't read that! Certainly, if it interests you. How many times? I'm not Russian, and I don't speak Russian. Can we talk about your deduction before? The things you concluded about me, I mean. Ah, the now famously accurate, troubling predicament you find yourself in. Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part? Ah, yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads, Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night, the young Russian was murdered. So when was Kazuma Russian? It sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. The one who would kill the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you. Violent Bolshevik. No. How could it be me? I don't look like anything like this man. Just look at his face. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well. Ugh, please. And, I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower. Ah yes, the journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far, and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder? And what about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Bolshevik has recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is it, anyway? This Afghanistan place. Here, take the paper for yourself, as a little memento of this great deduction. Oh, thank you. I've absorbed all that is of interest to me within his pages. I see no rubbish bin nearby. The revolutionary has been added, been entered into the court record. And you may find the article on the back page of interest as well. On the back? Cast your eye over it sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret. Let's see. How do I rotate things again? Okay, like that, like that. Who? Who are you? I can't read any of that! Huh, this is interesting. Have you found something relevant, Nodohodo-san? Well, no, I mean it looks like it might be interesting. I can't find a single word, I'm afraid. No, nor can I. But look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think? She is very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you? I don't know. I can't make any sense of it. Ah, I'm glad you've noticed this article. Ah! Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents. Oh, thank you! He pops up everywhere, this Mr. Sholmes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina, the Novavik Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance of Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nicolina Words are hard. Hang on, I might need a bottle of water after all. Give me 1 second, guys. Alright, I'm back. Took a sip of water. Pavlova. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? It would appear the woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room, wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles. Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I'm quite sure. It must be an unbelievable sum of money. Susato-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. The tiara is the property of the Novavik Ballet. It would seem the director is beside herself with worry. Yes, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They've requested international assistance at all ports with sailings to Great Britain. Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. The article about the ballerina... Alright. Record. That it about this? I'm afraid I can't read a word of Russian. No, me neither. I have no idea what any of this says. The pair of you floundering is a sorry sight. Allow me to offer some assistance. The article on the front page of this newspaper is concerned with a fearsome Russian revolutionary. It reads, Revolutionary Vilvan Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. Yes, you told us that before. It reveals also that those who do see the man's beard with their own eyes never live to tell the tale. Live to tell the tale. There we go. Oh my goodness, he is fearsome. Well, presumably the newspaper photographer was alright, wasn't he? The solution is obvious, of course. If he despises his beard to that degree, he only need shave it off. I'm not quite sure that's the problem, Mr. Sholmes. Alright. It's all written in Russian. I couldn't hope to read it. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. Well, we just did! What were you investigating just now, Mr. Sholmes? Before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you? Kazuma? Ah, yes, the victim. Did you not notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe, for a moment, the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. Ah, but... I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic! And something you ought to perhaps... okay, before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. Susato-san? Aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair! Anyway, to return to the matter of hand, namely, this diary belonged to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray, be precise as to details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy. A smattering! Sayonara, bonsai, mikado. Naruhodo, nado. I trust you are suitably impressed. Ha. But this diary is littered with complicated-looking characters, of which I can read precisely none. Ah ha 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 ha! So what was all that showing off about before then? If you'd be so kind as to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes. I'm much obliged, my dear madame. The final entry here in Kazuma-sama's diary consists of just two short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? These are very deep waters. Pray, go on. The second sentence reads, a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? What on earth does that mean? I have no idea. I've never heard of that expression before. The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. Kazuma's diary has been entered into the court record. So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least. Ah, do you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victim's writings in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe, and if I am too long, the seasickness takes hold. Oh, I suppose. You're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to. Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So yes, I intend to investigate, hence the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think perhaps that we could go with you? No, that would be somewhat complicated. What? But why? A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer. Thanks, bro. Oh, these. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter. No? There's no point in trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point. You must be joking! You just said it! Only a moment ago! Dear me, you're clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too. You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you the face of a criminal, you know. Not really. So, what? Were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway, that was then and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Ah ha 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 ha! Thanks, Sholmes. I was just being a plain rude. And if off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name. Naruhodo-san! What are you just standing there for? Must go investigate the cabin next door as well. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I can... Oh! Well, there I go again. After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? You're just going to roll over and accept your fate? As if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door. Good idea! The situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself. And I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this, and bring the real culprit to justice. Oh! Is that? Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? Oh, no, it's just that man standing by the door. I can't help feeling like I've seen him somewhere before. Exactly. Oh yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me, sir? Oh, he turns around! Yes, what can I do for you? It's him! I recognize that face, but it can't be. Ahem! 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 It is! I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga! Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you. My heart stopped. Nearly stopped, I hope. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew on board this ship. Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. I never expected to see this man on board. But perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. Special orders. So what were your special orders this time, Inspector? Yes, and why were you dressed as a member of the crew? I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard. It was Minister of Justice Jigoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san's reached Great Britain without being assassinated. Assassinated? How could that have been a possibility? I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated? Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. I see. And I didn't take my eyes off him that entire time we've been on board, from morning until night, every day. But I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin. Not here, on this first-class deck. I failed miserably at my assignment. Nasogi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. Inspector. So if there's anything at all that I can do to help now, just say the word. Yo, we got the lad. Alright, had to take a sip of water. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves. I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer? Of course not! We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, so we need to be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If you move to even touch the handle of the cabin door, that stormy-looking seaman there would surely snap your neck in two. I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now. They think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm going to need something persuasive. What do you mean? If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to. But I don't see how. There may be a way. What? Really? Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruhodo-san, by presenting me with a piece of evidence that you had in your possession. Evidence? It's just the same as you are. So sorry if that made it on to stream. It's just the same as when you were in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select present panel and choose some evidence that Inspector Hosonaga could use. So, evidence that would give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Alright, yes. I think I might know what we can use. Let's see if I can present the detective with the evidence he needs to persuade the captain. Okay. How do I, okay, right there. What do I present though? Yeah, present this. Right? What's that? It's Kazuma's diary. Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote, what looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? That is strange. Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that. But what I'd like to know is... Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it? You're very astute, Inspector. That ventilator clearly joins to the next door cabin. That's right. So if we could investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band was. Alright, then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have it to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But, what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? Ahem! 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 I'm a man of my word. And I promise you I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asogi-san safe. That is the least I can do. Yo, thank you, Hosonaga. Thank you. Let's seize the moment then, Naruhodo-san. Just select move and we can leave this cabin at last. Move. Alright, let's see what we can find out. Alright. Let's move. 9th January, 7:48 a.m. SS Bure, first class cabin, passageway. Phew, I'm finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be, and this is the most luxurious accommodation. Yes, indeed. Kazama-sama was being sent on this study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in a first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage. Really? That must be awful. Oh, look over there! There's another crewman keeping watch. He looks enormous, even if he's sitting down. The next time leaves the second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose. Like people in handcuffs. Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks already. I've been in the wardrobe the whole time, Susato! Well, yes, I know. But the thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard. And ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. It must have been a very trying time for you. Please, don't give me that pitying look. Let's look around a bit before we go into the room. This looks like a plan for the SS Bura. It shows each deck. Look. The Bura is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What marvel of engineering! Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but how is it that such a large lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean? Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san. It is? Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan? Yes, they're not metal, but they are enormous lumps of earth, many, many times larger than the ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating heavily on the sea ever since the gods created them. That's not how that works. Because it's the land coming up from the sea to form land, and the water is just covering the rest of the ground. But, you know what? Sure. Well, I suppose so. Ship protocols. That's a huge book on the top of the table there. There's a pen next to it. Yes, that looks like the ship's log. Shall I have a little look through it? The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and steady sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. And nothing. No reaction at all. I thought you might appreciate the compliment. I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment to Naruhodo-san, even to a sailor. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. Alright, hello dude. What's up? Excuse me, but can I ask you something? You little stowaway murderer! That wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you? You? You little third-class ladies' maid? This man is rude. Oh, we seem to have caught the sailor on a bad day, Susato-san. I am not a sailor. My mother gave me this name. I am senior crewman Biff Stroganov. Phew. The best thing is just to avoid eye contact, I think. Mr. Stroganov, about this first-class cabin area. Here we are in the finest part of Burya steamship. For very important persons. What sort of very important persons? Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret. Many important persons. That's why I am always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean, but Stroganov is not animal. Thank you? If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's currently occupied? I can't read that! Susato-san, did you understand that? It sounded like, duh. I think it's probably Russian for yes or no. Genius. It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. Well, it sounds like there is somebody in the next door cabin at least. Yes, it is tantalizing. Messenger in the next door cabin. Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's? His name is Mr. Grimsby Roylott. He is a very important Western gentleman. A Western gentleman? Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with the murder of student boy. How can you be so sure about that? Mr. Roylott is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in lowly student from insignificant Far East Islands. Wow! Wow! Okay. That was harsh. Could you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard? That is not your business. Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been Kazuma's captain the whole entire time, I never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone there. Well, presumably, since this gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins, he must be rather important, is that right? That is not your business. Last night. Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganov? Nah, all time. So criminals like you cannot come in, or get out. I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all? It is sad about Student Boy. Were you on watch last night as well? Of course. And did you notice anything at all at the time? Anything unusual? I don't know what that says! Susato-san, do you understand that? It was clearly a no! I saw nothing unusual, nothing at all. And you didn't hear any strange noises? He's looking away. I said no! Sorry. I'm not so sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. This is enough. I cannot say more now. Oh. It is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin. Yes, alright. Bulkhead to second class area is staying locked at all times. You escape when the lobster whistles on top of the mountain, or as English say, when the pigs fly. Yes, I understand. Good. Now we can investigate this area properly, shall we? Definitely. Alright, let's examine. What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it? That is the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm. It says, press only in times of emergency. It looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship, and brings the vessel to a complete stop. Oh, this I have to see. What are you doing, Naruhodo-san? You mustn't touch it! But this is an emergency situation! Just look at these handcuffs! You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation. I wish everything would just stop, the ship included. If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else. Okay, what is this on the floor? Ah, a trap for catching mice. Yes, we have plenty of those back home in Japan, although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait. Let me see. Yes, I think that's what is called cheese. It's made from the milk of cows. Cheese? I wonder what that tastes like. They don't know what cheese is? You can't eat it, Naruhodo-san. That trap will shut on your fingers. Really? But, I suppose you're right. You weren't actually going to try it, were you? All I've had to eat for the past couple of weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later. Boy, stay hydrated while reading through a visual novel on your own, folks. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in this cabin can solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help with our inquiries. How annoying. Oh! What was that? It came from inside the cabin. Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. Stand aside. I'm about to break the door down. Mr. Sholmes! I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges. Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted. It doesn't? Then how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What, pray, can I kick? I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. 9th January. SS Budia. First class cabin number 2. Who are you? A Western gentleman? This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream. A woman? Don't be absurd. As you can see, there's nobody but me in this cabin. True. This old man does appear to be the only person in here. But in that case, who just screamed? Get out, all of you, now! Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimesley Roylott, I believe? Yes, that's me. And you are? I am the one and only, the actual Herlock Sholmes. You've heard of me, no doubt? No. I am the great detective amongst detectives. One who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, may me trust me complete- I'm sorry. I don't trust this man. That man uses that magazine like a business card. A detective? I do not trust detectives. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. So much as I'm so bold to ask you to open that small traveling case. Well, don't be stupid! How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that? Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk. Don't look at me. Oh my! Did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes! The case just shook! Leave, now. Otherwise, I'll call the steward. So this is Kazuma's neighbor, Mr. Grimsby Roylott. There's no doubt about it. This strange Russian man is hiding something. I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns. Hello. Mr. Roylott, we'd like to talk to you about something. No. Oh. I do not want to talk. Leave my cabin now. Ugh, this is going terribly. We're not getting anywhere here. I agree, but there may be someone else who can help. Why is he just in there? Perhaps that great detective could get somewhere with Mr. Roylott. Okay. Let's examine. What are you doing over there, sir? Let's examine this first. So you know, let's get him out of there. Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes? You need only address me as Sholmes. That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there? Why, I was resting, of course. Resting? Indeed. I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting for the inevitable time. That you would need to call my great powers of deduction into service. Oh! And it would seem that the hour is upon us now. The time has come! Am I mistaken? Well, no, actually, you're spot on. For once. Observe closely. Our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Voilot, is clearly trying to hide something. And do you know what the most effective weapon to use against the Russian hiding a secret? Why? The truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for the Russians. Right. Can you imagine how the Russians will react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it? Oh yes, please! Well then, what you are about to see may well astound you. For I am about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Oh boy. Could this man be a more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you? What? From time to time, it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness? I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you, or anyone. That's right. And Mr. Sholmes? I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on first meeting, but I once read, it is a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment. Shh! I must have complete silence! What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that? Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now. Hmm? There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I have reached two oh dear, hang on. Incontrovertible conclusions. What? What do you mean? Number 1, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you are about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? Oh! And number 2, the other conclusion I have drawn, you are, at this very moment no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you have been discovered. Does it not? Ah! Oh, Naruhodo-san! I never imagined I would witness one of Mr. Sholmes' great deduction with my own eyes! That was a great deduction? Nothing can deceive Mr. Sholmes. In a single glance, he deduced all there is to know about a person. What? What ineffable twaddle! Oh yes, I've read about it countless times in The Adventure of Sherlock Holmes, now that I've experienced the astonishing impact of his great deduction firsthand. It's like a dream come true. I can hardly believe it, but all the color has drained from Mr. Roylott's face. It looks like somehow both of Mr. Sholmes' conclusions were right. How could you? How could I possibly know such things, you wish to say? Very well then. I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So I do cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together. Oh! The great deduction. The game is afoot. Ooh? Topic 1. Conclusion. Old man's identity. What? Alright. So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott. Obviously what catches the eye in the first place. Oh, whoa! Is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now, we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You're on the verge of using those shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. Now, moving on. The question then begged is this. Why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular the fascinating front-page article. Which, it would appear, you have also read, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. Having noticed the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, villain Bolshevik. Wasn't that us? Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand. A revolutionary on the run. Wrongdoing. Now, as for my second conclusion. This is so cool! This is really dynamic. I love it when visual novels do this. You are, at the very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime? Over there! Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes astray, you see. And I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, the traveling case. It is this time, I think, that the case can be opened and its contents laid bare. No, I refuse! What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps, one slight enough to fit therein. Don't be absurd! And what, pray, would the identity of this young lady be in the traveling case? Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? You careless coupe d'oeil betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can equally be found in the passage pages of this newspaper. For there is another, most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeting revolutionary to the back page. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovik Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. Your crime is that of an abduction. And according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. Kidnapping of a young ballerina. No, we've seen the trailers. I think he's wrong. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this Russian enigma. Eleminsky. You're a little bit wrong there, I think. Susato-san, that wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it? Well, the stars are full of Mr. Sholmes' brilliant deductions, you know. But that did seem a little different somehow. Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes, could you come over here for a moment? Pray, what can I do for you? It's about your deductions. Would you mind? Not at all. Go on. Well, to start with, there's the newspaper article. I think we had the same discussion before, but... These two men look nothing like each other. Ah yes, I recall our discussion earlier. And at the time, I believe I told you that the man is a revolutionary. well, able to revolutionize his own appearance. In fairness to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Warlock does look more like this man than you do. That's not the point. And another thing! The part of him abducting the ballerina. Indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case would appear too small to accommodate a young woman. Not at first glance, it is too small, clearly. You'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old child into that case, even if you pushed really hard. I don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she? You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15. No, I didn't know. How could I? Well, if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her would be poking out from the case. Some years ago, I read something pertinent, I believe. A troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain lithiness in their bodies. Vinegar? For such a shallow bunch, it would surely be simplicity itself to consort oneself into the confines of that small case. Oh dear, you might be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Sholmes. This whole thing is turning into a circus. Mr. Naruhodo, something's occurred to me about Mr. Sholmes' deductions just now. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of the matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic that seem a little off. Your idea of a little may be a little off itself, Miss Susato. It's just one or two key words in his deductions that seem to let him down, so I was wondering if we might perhaps tactfully switch them for alternatives. What do you think? Switch out some key words in his deductions. Yes, but very tactfully. I feel sure if we could do that, we'd unlock the true genius of Mr. Sholmes' great deduction. Precisely that was going through my own mind. This man is a lot of work. This reading is also doing a lot of work for my throat. I might have to end it after this minigame, because my throat is dying. And the next time I stream, I definitely have to bring 1 or 2 people with me. At times, I wonder how anyone puts up with me. It's not that funny. And you, my good fellow. Sorry? Take a moment to look at your wrists. My wrists? What, they're gone? Where are your handcuffs? Huh? How did... I felt they may hinder you in your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction. I don't believe it! Mr. Sholmes, you are a marvel! And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrists when we are finished. I'm not worried. In fact, I'd rather stay like this. So, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Oh! It's Naruhodo! Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes! So the dubious looking obviously catches in the eye in the first place. Is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Okay, that part's right. Time to implement. The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You're aware of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. That's what's wrong. I'm not sure. Would you really use shears like that to cut off a beard? I doubt that's something I'll ever have to worry about. It doesn't quite sit right with me, though. It doesn't seem to be sitting right with Mr. Vorlot, either. Which means, I suppose, that deduction is wrong. Let's try to switch a key word there, Naruhodo-san, and see if it helps matters. Alright, but how? I think we should start by taking a long, hard look at Mr. Vorlot. I wonder if it's really his beard that he intends to use those shears on. Exactly. If we do manage to find something that fits the sense of Mr. Sholmes' deductions better, then what? Then I'll leave the rest in your capable hands, Naruhodo-san. Why am I the one to do something about this? Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything we could even use to switch around in that last sentence. What exactly was Mr. Roylott really going to use those enormous shears for? I've seen the trailers! It's right here! Golden locks! What the? What's this? It looks like a cascade of stunning golden locks! No, the color's not the point. The point is, what's it doing on the back of Mr. Roylott's head? And how is it growing out from underneath his thick black hair? Well, yes, that's true. It's so stunningly beautiful and stunningly surprising. Something's definitely not right here.
Yes!
Present this. Let's fit that in instead. Oh! Oh my god! Yo, sick nasty moves, Naruhodo! You're on the verge of using the shears to cut away the golden locks you sport. Indeed. You have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose. Such lush golden hair certainly does not befit an old man. You're not a man at all. You're a woman, and judging from the length and sheen of your hair, one very much in her youth. Oh no! If only I had managed to cut off my hair, no one would have suspected. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of these magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity. Article about the revolutionary. That's wrong! Well, that was a shock. I had no idea that old man was actually a Ah! I had no idea that old man was really a young woman in disguise. Did you? What? Why are you staring at me like that? Yes, it was a surprise. Naruhodo-san. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Sorry? You look like you're in your element as you dance around the room deducing the facts with Mr. Sholmes. I'm just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything. This is strictly business, not strictly— Yes, I understand. Say no more. Well, anyway, let's focus on this next part of Mr. Sholmes' deductions, shall we? The evidence that he's picked out doesn't fit the facts out at all now. No, that's true, given that Mr. Roylott is actually a woman. Exactly. He, or rather, she, can't possibly be this merciless revolutionary. I suppose it's because the deduction as a whole has taken a different direction now. Yes. Let's switch the evidence for something else. Something that fits the facts as we now understand them. For some reason, this woman needed to try to hide her true identity. I feel as though I've either read or heard about a young woman in a situation like that recently. Yep, we sure have! Alright, I'll do my best. It's the back of the article.
Yes!
Ah! The evidence that reveals her true identity is, of course, the article about the ballerina. That's right. You've hit the nail on the head. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovic Ballet disappears from Shanghai. It would appear we are finally able to address you by your true name. Yes, because your true identity is that of the Novovic ballerina's prima ballerina, Miss Nikolina Pavlova. Yo, we got her! Huh? Oh, it's her! You're right. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. But please, I beg of you, don't tell anyone. Yo, we got her! A ballerina on the run. Solved! And now for this part. Now, as for my second conclusion. You are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime? Over there. Oh yes, Miss Pavlova. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than of the mouth. The answer we seek lies furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case. It's not it. This woman is the ballerina, and she's right in front of our eyes. So clearly she can't be inside that traveling case as well. No, that's right. It seems she wasn't abducted at all. In which case, what is the crime this young woman is apparently committing? I can see I'm going to have to step in and fix the great detective's mistake again. You seem to look pleased, Naruhodo-san. Do you like the idea of another chance to dance around with Mr. Schultz? Stop it. Anyway, there must have been something else here that shows what this woman is up to. Can I move the I can. There it is. Wow! Look at this dazzling tiara! Had ever seen anything like it? Are those real diamonds, do you think? Oh, Naruhodo-san, try it on! What? Me? Isn't it usually girls who wear tiaras? Wouldn't you like to try it on? Oh no, I couldn't possibly! It's far too beautiful! Why does this tiara look familiar? I feel like I've seen it somewhere recently. You have? How do I present? Right here. It's that tiara! The proof of your crime is surely this tiara. Ah! I believe this tiara is worn on stage by dancers in the Novovic Ballet, is it not? Indeed, it would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured here in this newspaper article. And if the reporting is to be believed, it's an item worth 20,000 rubles. In summary, the crime you have committed is theft. Oh no! Yes, you left your ballet troupe, unlawfully taking their precious tiara with you. We got her! I have no one, no family, no friends. I am all alone, and I need money. But I did not steal the tiara. It was a present from, how do you say, an earl of Prussia. It belongs to me! This girl is only 15 years old, and she's run away all by herself. She must have been extremely lonely. Alright, I will tell you everything. There is no point to hiding it now. Come, come, let us not be hasty. What? There remains one unsolved mystery about you. Mystery? What do you mean? You have staunchly refused to open this traveling case of yours in our presence. It is reasonable to conclude, therefore, that there exists some reason why you wish it to remain closed. Is that not so, Miss Pavlova? My dear girl. My dear girl, there is no sense in playing games with me. Nothing escapes my attention. Indeed, I have a very good idea of the contents of your case, even before I've ever laid eyes on them. Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless coup d'eau betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the no. He's completely changed tack with his deduction now. I think Mr. Schultz is adapting his logic to the changing circumstances, don't you? Maybe, but why has he suddenly brought the bookshelf into all this? It's just a wild guess, surely. Oh, do you think so? Well, it doesn't seem like the reason is why this young woman doesn't want to open her case. Would have written in a book that doesn't even belong to her. Yes, that's true, but still, Miss Pavlova certainly did cast her eyes in that direction. I have noticed it myself. And there has to be another reason why she won't open her case. And it must be somewhere in the same area, if that's where her gaze was involuntarily drawn. I agree. That's the only answer. Whatever she has hidden inside that case, she'll be revealed by following her gaze in the direction of her bookshelf. She brought a pet along.
Yes!
Alright, style on stage. There you go, my boy! Yes, the reason why you refused to open your case is written in the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Inside that case of yours is something forbidden from carriage on this vessel. That is the real reason why you refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents. Let's move in. As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon or other dangerous item would move of its own accord. Which leaves one possibility, Miss Pavlova, inside your traveling case. Look at them! Is the last item listed as forbidden in the vessel's rules of passage. A pet! Yo, that was so cool! That would also explain why there's the dish on the floor here. Alright, okay, I really want to continue, but if I continue any further, my throat is going to die. I definitely need to have someone else here with me while I stream this, but thank you guys for stopping by. I really want to continue this. But yeah. Thank you guys for stopping by. If you'd like, come join the Discord server. We have fun here, we swear. If you want to see my art or other people's art, or want to know if streams are popping up, or if I'm struggling with school, come look at Twitter. And if you want to see my past streams, come look at YouTube's. But I'll see you guys later. Have a good night. Bye bye. Stay safe.